I've been on the hunt for presidential places here in Central Florida, and this time around, I'm heading out to the tourist area.
Indeed, it is an honor for me to be here
this extraordinary day.
At Disney World!
It not only draws people, it also draws presidents. However, it's a visit by Richard Nixon that gets my vote as the most interesting stop by a president at Walt Disney World. The year was 1973, and Richard Nixon was knee-deep in the Watergate scandal. And on November 17, 1973, Nixon flew to Orlando and made a stop at the Contemporary Resort in Walt Disney World for a Q&A session at the Associated Press Managing Editors Annual Convention. It was here during a televised Q&A session with the press's top brass that Nixon said the quote that essentially becomes the go-to move for everyone that's ever done a Nixon impersonation. Go ahead, give it a try, I'll give you a moment. Chances are, you just said, "I am not a crook." Yes, that happened there at the Contemporary Resort and Walt Disney World at that meeting.
And in all of my years of public life, I have never obstructed justice. And I think, too, that I can say that in my years of public life, that I welcome this kind of examination, because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
It was a statement which would become one for the history books, and less than a year later, on August 9, 1974, Richard Nixon resigns. So there's a nice, interesting piece of presidential history that happened here in Central Florida, and who knows, maybe it'll help you win your next trivia night. And if that's the case, go ahead and lift a glass for Richard Nixon, and lift one for me. For Orlando Sentinel, I'm Rich Pope.
And I want to say this to the television audience. I made my mistakes, but in all of my years of public life, I have never profited from public service. I've earned every cent. And in all of my years of public life, I have never obstructed justice. And I think, too, that I can say that in my years of public life, that I welcome this kind of examination, because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.